good morning to all of you and welcome to the class. Okay, so let's start today's video, right? Class 11th. Today what we are going to do, we are doing a quick revision. Okay, as you know that we have completed the syllabus, right? So we will do quick revision, right? So I am starting with chapter number 7, that is sources of business finance. Okay, so we will start today's video, right? Quick revision it is, right? You have some doubts, so with this video that doubts will be clear. Okay, so let's start. Business finance we are going to study today. Okay, sources of business finance. Okay, so before we start business finance, first we have to know that what is business basically. Okay, in business what we do, in business we carry out so many activities in which we do production, okay, and so many other production will be there, okay, and so many other different things will be there. Production, distribution of goods and services will be there, right? But why we are doing? We are doing for the society, and in society who are there? People are there, human beings are there. So business is that, right? So to carry on all these activities, you need finance. Okay, without finance you cannot run any activity, you cannot run any business. You need finance for that. Okay, and so let's see here that what is business finance. The requirements of funds to carry out its various activities is called business finance. The requirement of funds, to carry out its various activities, okay, to carry out the activities, okay, so many activities you have to do in the business. So how you can carry out all those activities? To carry out all those activities you need the requirements of funds, okay, and that is called business finance. That is called business finance. Okay, see, so many entrepreneurs are there, okay, they have started their business. So the amount which they have, with that they have started, but can that amount is enough for that to run the business? No. To carry on, okay, to carry out all the activities, there are so many day-to-day activities in the business, there are so many requirements in the business, okay, to pay the daily wages to the workers, okay, suppose some machinery has some problem, so they have to repair, okay, so all these come under so many extra activities are there, okay. So to pay all these things you need some funds, okay, you need the requirements. So an entrepreneur cannot it is not able for him that from his initial capital he can do all these things, okay. So he want the extra funds, okay, and from different sources he can collect the funds, okay, to fulfill the requirements of the business, okay, to carry on all the day-to-day activities, okay. That's why you need finance, you need funds for the business. Without that it is impossible for any person, okay, to run the business, right? So you need what you need? You need funds, right? That is most important, right? And one more thing is there, that finance, lifeblood of any business. Finance is the lifeblood of any business. Lifeblood of any business. Without finance you cannot run the business. Can you run the business without finance, without funds? No, it is impossible to run the business without funds. You need adequate funds. You need adequate funds, okay, to run the business, right? Without adequate funds, how can you run? Yes, starting, you have started the business, right? Anybody has started the business. Suppose an entrepreneur is there. He has started the business. He is having his initial capital with him, and he has invested that capital in that business. Can that capital is sufficient for him? No, that is not sufficient for him. He needs some adequate funds. Okay, some extra funds, right? He need to carry on his business activities. Okay, so you need business finance, right? Business finance is this. Okay, right? From different sources you can get the funds. Those sources we will discuss later. Now we will discuss about all those sources. Okay, and finance is called the lifeblood of any business. It's very important. Lifeblood of any business is finance, right? Yes. Now let me erase this. Let me erase this first. Okay. Yes. So you need finance for everything. Okay, don't think that once you have invested the money in the business and that is enough. No, it is not like that. It is really not like that. You have to you need requirements of funds. Okay, each and every stage of business. Right. Now we will study about some sources of finance. Some sources of finance are there. Sources of finance, okay, on the basis of ownership. On the basis of ownership. Some sources of finance are there, okay, that will be on the basis of ownership, right? Then what are those sources? There are two sources of business finance. Okay, the first one is owner's fund. Owner's funds. Now, what is owner funds? The funds which is contributed by the owner. Okay, which is contributed by the owner. The funds which is contributed by the owners. That is called owner's fund. And from where he has accumulated that funds? Through profit, okay, through retained earnings of the company, okay, company has got some profit, so from that he has accumulated that funds with him, okay, or some retained earnings, equity shares. With all these things he has accumulated all these funds, okay. Owner funds refers to the funds contributed by owners as well as the accumulated profit. Okay, owner funds, right? Suppose I am the owner of the company. Okay, so I have started the business. Now we are talking about sources of finance, okay, on the basis of ownership. So I have my funds with me, okay, I have my initial capital, right? So I have invested that capital in my business. Is that capital is enough for my business? No. So already I have some accumulated profit also of the company. Company is running, okay, so naturally company some of the time company has got some profit also, okay, so that profit is there, and some other sources also like retained earnings, equity shares. From that also I can do, I can invest the money in my business. The owner can invest the money in his business. That is called owner's fund. Okay, that is called owner's fund. Right. Now let's see here some important features are there of owner funds. That is, owner funds remains permanently invested in the business till the life of the business is there. Okay, so owner funds will be permanently invested, permanently invested in the business till the life of the business is there. Okay, till that time the amount of the owner is invested in the business. This is the first feature. Then there will be the risk of owner's capital. The owner's fund is also known as risk capital of the business as the return. Okay, why risk capital? We are saying that owner's fund is called risk capital. Why we are saying? Because the funds which the owner has invested in the business, it is not sure that money will come back. It depends on the company's profit. Okay, in company, if a company has gained the profit, so naturally the owner will get his money back. But if the company is facing loss, then he has to remain quiet. Okay, because if no profit, then how can the funds can he regain those funds? So there will be the risk. That's why we are saying owner's capital will be the risk. Okay, so for owner's fund, you no need any security. There is no need for the security for the owner's fund. Okay, now some sources of owner's funds are, that is retained earnings. Okay, retained earnings, and what are other is that equity shares. Okay, so these are the some sources of owner's fund, that is retained earnings and equity shares. So you understood that what is owner's fund. Owner's fund is the amount which the owner has invested in his business as well as the accumulated profit of the company. Okay, that is called owner's fund, right? So this is owner fund, right? Let me remove this. The first source of finance on the basis of ownership we have studied. Okay, now the second source is, that is borrowed fund. BORROWED, borrowed funds. Okay, now what are borrowed funds? Borrowed funds refers to the borrowings of the firm. That funds we are borrowing from different firms. Okay, owner funds, that funds is of the owner, and borrowed fund means that we are borrowing these funds from some different firms. Okay, so there are some different sources of borrowed funds, that like some financial institutions are there. Okay, some banks are there. Okay, so like that, from these are the sources from where owners can borrow the funds. Okay, understood. Now some features are there. You need security. If you are taking borrowed funds from suppose you are taking loan from bank, so bank will ask some security. Okay, without security, bank will not pass you the loan, or any financial institution will not pass the loan until and unless they will take some security. Okay, and in borrowed funds there will be a time period. Suppose a 6 months time period. Suppose from some financial institution you have taken some owner has taken some funds. Okay, so there will be the time period. Within 6 months that person has to repay back that money to that financial institution. Okay, then there will be security, fixed time I have told you, and regular payment of interest. Suppose a person is there and he has taken amount of 6 lakhs. So on that 6 lakh he has to pay that interest also. Per month he has to pay the interest also. So these are the features of borrowed funds. Okay, now let's move ahead. There is a difference between owner's fund and borrowed fund that you learn from the book. Okay, that is very simple. Now let me erase this. And let's see other thing, that is, yes, now sources of raising fund. Till now we have done the sources of finance on the basis of ownership. Now there are some sources of raising funds. Sources of raising funds. Some sources are there from which a person can raise the funds. Now what we are doing, going to do that, sources of raising fund on the basis of owner's fund. Okay, we are doing on the basis of owner's fund. On the basis of owner's funds. Okay, so the first one is issue of share. Remember, I have told you this, issue of share, we have studied this, issue of shares. Issue of shares. Issue of share is owner's fund. Okay, right? This is a source of owner's fund and this is a long-term source of finance. Remember that issue of share is long-term source of finance. Long-term source, not short-term source. Okay, now what are shares? Okay, suppose a person is there, owner is there. Okay, now he's want to start a business. Okay, whatever it is, he want to start a business. Right, now shares, what are shares? Shares are small, the capital which is divided into small units, that is called shares. The capital which is divided into small units, that is called shares. Okay, now a person is there. Okay, he want suppose he wants 6 lakhs. Okay, he wants 6 lakhs rupees, right, to be invested in his business. Okay, to be invested in his business. Example, I am giving 6 lakhs, or we can do to make it to it 50 lakhs. Okay, this is okay, 50 lakh. Okay, you can see it, right, 50 lakh. Now can anybody will have, individual person will have 50 lakh rupees? No, it is not possible that any person will have 50 lakh rupees individually. So what he is doing, that he is dividing this amount into small parts, small units he has divided. Okay, and when he is divided this amount into small units, so it become easy, right? It become easy for every person to invest in the organization. Easily a person can invest that small amount in the business. It is not tough for anybody. Okay, but 50 lakh is a huge amount. It is a big amount. So that will cause so much problem. But by dividing the capital, so issue of shares we are doing. So what is shares? Shares are the small units of capital. Okay, that is divided into small units, right? Share is the smallest units in which owner's capital of the company is divided, right? Owner's capital which divided into small units, that is called shares. Okay, and so here he has divided that capital into small units, so this is called shares, right? And the person who is holding the shares, suppose I am the person, okay, I am holding, company is there, okay, 10 members are there, and out of 10 I am also one member, and I am holding 10,000 shares of the company, so I am the shareholder of the company. Okay, I am the shareholder. A person who hold the shares, okay, of the company, we call him shareholder of the company. Okay, this is one thing. Now, according to Companies Act, Now Company Acts means Company Act 2013. Let me erase this. According to Companies Act, okay, according to Companies Act, Companies Act 2013. Before some other act was there, okay. According to Companies Act, we are studying here. So the public company can issue two types of shares. There are two types of shares. Number one is equity share. Equity shares, and others is preference shares. Equity shares and other is preference shares. Okay. Yes. Now, what are equity shares? Equity shares are the most important source of raising long-term capital. If an owner want to raise his long-term capital, okay, so equity shares are those shares. From equity shares, a person can raise his capital for long-term time period. Okay, equity shares are the most important source of raising long-term capital. Equity shares are those shares which do not carry any preferential rights. Equity shares, they don't have any preferential rights. Now, what are preferential rights? Suppose a company is there and equity shareholders are there. Okay, when the company is getting profit or anything, equity shares will be keep a very last stage. Okay, the company will keep the equity shareholders at very last position. Okay, they don't have any preferential rights. They don't have any rights. Right, they don't have any rights. Right. If company is having profit also, that time also equity shareholders will not get any dividend, any profit. They will get, but at last they will get. First the owner of the company, they will give the profit, they will distribute the amount to other people, the creditors, the debtors, okay, the shareholders, everybody. But equity shareholders will get their dividend or anything, any payment is there at last, and sometime they will not get also. Okay, so if they will not get, so that time they can go for voting rights, right? So these are equity shareholders. Means equity shareholders are, equity shares are what shares? Those who have more they can raise the capital for long term. Okay, and they don't have any preferential rights. Now the second is, that is preference shares. Preference shares means that those people, suppose I am a preference shareholder, I am holding the preference shares, so I will get the more preference I will get. Okay, means more preference means more importance I will get. I have so many rights. Okay, in place of equity shareholders, preference shareholder have so many rights. Okay, at the time of the dividend also, okay, preference shareholders, okay, in comparison to equity shareholders, preference shareholders will get the dividend at first. Okay, first the right is of preference shareholders who will get the dividend. Okay, and so many voting rights are there. Okay, they have the right to take the participate in the management also. Okay, so they have so many preferential rights. Okay. Raise at the time of the winding up of the company also, that time also preference shareholders will be keep in the first place. Okay, so today we have discussed about business finance. Okay, its sources, owners funds, borrowed fund. We have discussed sources of raising funds. Okay, on the basis of ownership we have discussed, right? And we have discussed about equity shares and preference shares. So we are doing revision. Okay, please see the video, try to understand it. This is a quick revision, it will help you. Okay, in the next video we will continue some other topics. Okay, thank you so much.